What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the last show of the week, but of AC Reviews the World. I'm your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 145. Yes, we're at episode 145 now. Moving on up there, moving on up. Hopefully, everybody had a good week, good work week, or hey, good vacation. However you had it, hopefully you had a good week. But it is time for the greatest afternoon show in the world, and that is AC Reviews the World. Why is it the greatest? Because we go over some of the craziest stories that we just need to review together. Now, just a little housekeeping, like you know how I like to do. Housekeeping, if you ever disagree with anything I say, please leave a comment. Let's have a discussion. I'm never going to say I'm always right. I'm never going to say I'm always know everything. This is what the world needs. The world needs more discussions about this type of stuff. But remember, the best way to support this channel is all you got to do is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be updated on everything. But you know how I like to do it. We're going to jump right into it. How Future say, let's have a sensational show today, y'all. But the first topic we're going to be discussing today, y'all, the first topic is Kristi Noem. If you haven't seen it, some people are happy. Some people are saying it's a mistake. But we got Kristi Noem has been fired as the DHS secretary. And they've already thinking about her replacement. But we're going to get over into some videos about why she was fired, some reasons why, and about who her replacement is going to be. A lot of people have been upset with her, especially about what was happening in Minnesota and everything like that. So let's see what everybody is saying about it. We're going to jump over into it and see what we can find out about this whole situation. Let's jump into it.
Now let's return to the first major shakeup in President Trump's cabinet. Kristi Noem is now out as Secretary of Homeland Security. CBS News obtained an internal message she wrote to her employees yesterday. She said in part, quote, "It has been the honor of my life to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security and lead you." She also confirmed that her last day on the job will be at the end of this month. Let's bring in CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga. Nicole, good to see you again today. What have you learned about why Trump fired Noem?
Mugo, good to see you. It was the culmination of criticism stemming not just from Capitol Hill, but also around the White House and within the ranks of the Department of Homeland Security. Of course, a lot of talk this week swirling around the controversial $220 million ad campaign that Secretary Noem shot, including scenes from Mount Rushmore that were filmed during a previous government shutdown last year. But beyond that spending, which drew the ire of senators like Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, as well as some within the ranks of the Department of Homeland Security, there had been a long-standing frustration with a memo issued last June, whereby the secretary had to personally approve any spending across DHS, be it at FEMA, CISA, CBP, ICE, of expenditures over $100,000. And there had become some chatter that was actually preventing FEMA from reimbursing states and local authorities for disaster aid reimbursements, which of course also got picked up on Capitol Hill. And there were both Democratic and Republican lawmakers that criticized the secretary about that this week. This also coming on the tail end of Operation Metro Surge, of course, in Minneapolis. A lot of concerns not only about the number of sweeping arrests that took place in Minneapolis, but how they were carried out. And of course, the fatal shootings of two American citizens, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, not to mention how the Department of Homeland Security worked or didn't work with local authorities to help carry out those investigations, which are now being led by the FBI. On top of all of this, we learned that this week the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee has launched an investigation into allegations by the department's Inspector General that DHS took formal steps to try to shut it out of classified systems in order to perform some of its own investigations and audits into DHS programs. So certainly there's a lot here.
A lot of stuff. So at the end of the day, at least how I feel is some politics feels like it's just a big popularity contest. If there's too many people who are against you or upset with what you're doing, then they're going to get you out of there. Now, There's some crazy situations going on, especially having to approve the FEMA money or some of the FEMA money if it's over 100,000, and some people are getting backed up with so much natural disasters going on that were happening. Oh, it's a crazy situation. Let's keep going.
One source telling me that Secretary Noem simply ran out of friends in Washington, that her last friend was sitting at the White House, President Donald Trump, who, of course, made the decision early yesterday to replace Noem.
And so now what comes next for Secretary Noem? Can you tell us more about the man who is now tapped to replace her?
Yeah, the man tasked to replace her, Senator from Oklahoma, former member of the House for around a decade, Markwayne Mullin. Take a listen to what he had to say when he was asked about lessons learned during Secretary Noem's tenure at the Department of Homeland Security.
Is there always lessons that can be learned? You know, listen, my wife and I, we have, over the years, we have been fortunate enough to purchase companies and grow our companies, and every day there's something you can do better. And so I think there's an opportunity to build off successes, and there's also opportunities to build off things that maybe didn't go quite as planned.
And Markwayne Mullin has developed a reputation of being a loyalist to this president, of being an immigration hardliner, not dissimilar to his predecessor here. So for those who think the Department of Homeland Security will take a step back from its aggressive immigration operations nationwide, I think it's too soon to say. It will be interesting to see how he engages with some of the components, some of the current DHS leadership there, but certainly, at least within the ranks of the Department of Homeland Security at the White House and on the Hill, a lot of folks optimistic, as they often are, about nominees, and believe that he will be confirmed by the end of this month, March, which, as you mentioned earlier, Mugo, Secretary Noem said yesterday in a message to internal staff that her last day will be March 31st. All of this, of course, coming amid the partial government shutdown. We should remind our viewers that the Department of Homeland Security is limited to just essential personnel right now, as well as some immigration operations. But the Coast Guard, the Secret Service, the Office of Countering Weapons of Mass Destruction, just to name a few, the top cyber defense agency, CISA, so many of the workforce now operating without a paycheck. So this is certainly a department in disarray at the moment.
Yes.
Now, like they said, he has to be confirmed. So we'll see if he will be confirmed later on at the closer to the end of this month when her time is over with. Let's go over into one more video just to get a little bit more information.
Big shakeup at the Department of Homeland Security. Secretary Kristi Noem is on her way out. President Trump has already named his choice for a successor.
President Trump fired Noem following a fiery week of testimony on Capitol Hill. Christina Fan joins us live now in studio with the latest on this. Christina.
Well, Mary and Doug, Senator Markwayne Mullin is set to become the new Homeland Security chief at the end of this month, pending Senate confirmation. The Oklahoma Republican is an immigration hardliner who will need to rebuild trust in a department that's been under fire. Kristi Noem's tenure as DHS secretary has been full of controversy, including her handling of the Minneapolis immigration crackdown, which led to the fatal shootings of 2 U.S. citizens. She was roasted at a Senate hearing earlier this week about rumors of an affair with aide Corey Lewandowski and her agency's use of administrative warrants to search homes and private property. But the final straw for President Trump appeared to have been over a controversial ad campaign. At the cost of $220 million, the commercials began airing last year, the biggest contract going to a company run by the husband of Noem's former spokesperson. Noem's departure was seemingly welcomed on both sides of the aisle.
When both sides are agreeing that you are doing an awful job. And as soon as we had that, I don't really have much to say about Renee Good, but Alex Peretta, as soon as he died, they immediately said that he had a gun and was and basically that he was about to hurt the officers. That's what they ran with immediately. But the video came out and it was nothing like they said. I knew immediately from that fact that, oh, yeah, someone's going to get fired. And we had the one who was leading the ICE operation in Minneapolis got relieved and had to have Tom Homan come in. But the higher ups, they're going to have to hold her accountable. Let's keep going, though.
Very strongly that she's out of her depth. I just think she may have been a successful governor. It's just her experience doesn't scale, nor does her judgment.
She should be held to account for the corruption that she has shown.
Noem's replacement, Senator Mullen, is a former businessman and mixed martial artist. Shortly after President Trump named him to the role, Mullen said his focus will be to keep the homeland secure.
It came at not a complete surprise, but it came at a little bit of surprise for us. And so the president and I, as you guys know, we're great friends, and we get along great. I look forward to working with him and his cabinet. Of course, we still got to go through this little thing called confirmation.
Noem will get a soft landing. The president has appointed her special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, a job that never existed before. Noem thanked President Trump for the new role and said she will be, quote, working alongside Secretary Rubio and Secretary Hegseth to dismantle cartels that have poured drugs into our country, killing our children and grandchildren. Her last day on the job will be March 31st.
Well, I mean, she's of course she found another job. We're not surprised about that. But what are your thoughts, y'all? Are y'all happy with this whole, with her being fired? Are y'all disappointed? Do you think that the new secretary of the DHS will do anything different than what she did? Most likely not, because he is like they said, he is a hardliner on immigration. One of the biggest problems to me is them not working with the federal, with the local authorities to investigate some of these deaths. That if she would have done that, that could have saved her, at least in my thinking. But some people might say I'm completely wrong. But let me know your thoughts on this situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. She is out of here. She's gone at the end of the month, and we'll see what happens from there. We're going to pivot over into the next topic we're going to be discussing today, and it's more, we're getting into some tragic stuff now. We're getting some tragic stuff. We got some daughters, I spelled that wrong. We got some daughters found in a suitcase. Now, the mother has been arrested and charged. I don't know exactly what she has been charged with, but we'll get into a couple videos, and we also hearing from a potential father of one of the daughters who was found. Tragic situation, y'all, but we got a few videos to look at, and of course we'll go over to the AI breakdown just to see if we miss anything. So let's get over into it and see what we can find out. Let's jump into it.
I just got a call from the chief, and we can confirm that we now have a person of interest.
That's what we want. That's what we want. Good.
The news coming on the heels of a search warrant executed on a property merely 100 yards from where officers found two half-sisters between the ages of 8 and 14 dead inside suitcases. For hours, our crews watched as the Cleveland Police Homicide Unit and SWAT teams circled a home on East 162nd.
Part of the investigation led us to this home, and it's been a nonstop, ongoing investigation.
Trash cans were searched, law enforcement in and out of the house. We even saw a small child walk out with an officer. But whether there are more victims in this case wasn't shared by Cleveland police.
This obviously is difficult in terms of the ages of the victims, and it's no secret that it touches our hearts. Our officers are human just like everyone else, and they're their parents, their grandparents, and it affects them as well, which is, it goes to say that they're committed to resolving this as quickly as possible.
No arrests and no charges as of Wednesday night, but...
Now, just from this fact, I know I wasn't built to be an officer, but let's get over into the next video.
Today, the Cleveland woman accused of murdering two young girls appeared in court. This is the first time we are learning her identity after a week-long investigation into who put those two young girls inside suitcases and tried to bury them in shallow graves. 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson is now being held on a $2 million bond. She is charged with aggravated murder of her two daughters, and according to the prosecutor, their bodies have been there for a while. The half-sisters were 8 and 10 years old, and our partner station in Cleveland spoke to the father of the 8-year-old girl.
She's at 100% fault but the system at fault with her. They played a big part in the murders of these two children.
Police also reported there was another child in the mother's home when she was arrested. That child is now under the care and custody of Children and Family Services.
This is an awful situation. Where are the fathers in this whole situation? We had one of them come up saying that the system played a big part in this. Is he saying that the system who wouldn't let him keep the child? But I might just be speculating. But let's keep going into this.
News alert.
Breaking news right off the top. We now know the names of those sisters who died such horrific deaths.
They are 8-year-old Mila Chapman and 10-year-old Amor Wilson. That is Mila laying down on the bed, and that is Amor sitting up next to her. Two beautiful, innocent girls. Their lives stolen from them. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Duffy.
I'm Tiffany Tucker. Thanks for joining us. Also breaking at 6 o'clock, the suspect now charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder.
Now at 6, Brittany Weir takes us through what we know so far.
Yes, 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson has been arrested in connection to this. She is currently here at the jail. Now, this all comes after the bodies of those 2 young girls were found stuffed inside suitcases and then buried in shallow graves on Cleveland's east side near Ginn Academy. And like you said, now we are taking a closer look at how investigators were able to track her down just 2 days later. This tragic case started with a dog walk Monday evening. A man and his dog were near East 162nd and Midland Avenue when the dog caught a scent in the field near Ginn Academy.
And for the last week, she's been stopped. It was like a mound of dirt. She's been stopped and sniffing like a little too long.
When officers arrived, they found a suitcase buried in a shallow grave. Inside, the body of a young child. A second suitcase with another body was found nearby. Cleveland police confirmed the 2 children were half-sisters, one between the ages of 8 and 13 years old, the second between 10 and 14. Wednesday night, officers served a search warrant at a home on East 162nd Street, just steps away from where those bodies were found.
So part of the investigation led us to this home, and it's been a nonstop, ongoing investigation. Our homicide unit, it's often not said, but they have been working around the clock in this investigation.
Neighbors told 19 News that Henderson lives at that home. She was booked into Cuyahoga County Jail for murder and child endangering.
What they've committed to this investigation, and they're working really hard to bring justice to these young girls.
Tragic. Let's go over to one more video where we hear more about it from the father.
Right now at 11. A Cleveland mother accused of killing her 2 children. Tonight, one of their fathers,
she told you that she was going to kill your daughter,
is facing the unimaginable. Police say they know who is behind the crime. Now family and neighbors talk to News 5 investigator Scott Knoll, all trying to make sense of this tragedy.
Mourners paying tribute to 2 lives taken too soon. And Cleveland police say the person responsible is the girl's mother, 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson. In court documents, investigators say Henderson, quote, knowingly and purposely killed 10-year-old Amor Wilson and her sister, 8-year-old Mila Chapman, then put the sisters in 2 different suitcases and buried them in shallow graves outside Ginn Academy.
A little shaken up right now.
Understood.
A neighbor walking his dog discovered the first of the bodies Monday night.
Just like full in the fetal position.
Nearby, police found the second. Investigators have not said how long the girls were there and tell me the motive for the killings is still unknown. But Deshaun Chapman believes there were red flags. He says Mila Chapman was his daughter. He didn't want his face to be shown. He said he wanted the focus to be on the sisters.
This didn't have to happen like this. Mila had a father, prison father, that wanted her.
He says he hadn't seen his daughter in years, claiming Henderson cut him off after he called Child Protective Services after she threatened Mila.
Come get this crybaby ass baby or I'm gonna kill her.
Was that just a frustrated mom?
I don't know if that was a frustrated mom or a deranged woman, but I'm gonna go with the
Hold on. I don't know.
Woman, if you ask me.
He says
I don't know a frustrated mother who would actually say, come get this little girl before I kill her. I don't know, but mothers tell me if that's something you would say out of frustration. But that sounds like you need to call child services. That just sounds like it.
Henderson then moved around with the kids. Court records show she and her daughters were evicted in 2021 for failing to pay rent. The next year, a neighbor says she moved into this home on East 162nd Street. From the sidewalk in front of it, you can see where her daughter's bodies were found.
She never let her kids come outside, play. None of the kids engaged with those kids.
Deshae Kreider, who shares the duplex with Henderson, says she too called protective services about Henderson, concerned about erratic behavior.
She was acting out.
You had concerns about her mental health?
Yes, 100%.
In a statement, a county spokesperson said due to the active criminal investigation into these deaths, as well as the state's confidentiality law, she couldn't disclose any further information about any children and family services involvement with the family. But Chapman insists the system let him down.
I don't want to say that.
Say hey, Grandma.
No.
Say it. Say it.
No.
He says there's no justice for Mila, just this hope for the woman accused of killing her.
The same thing that happened to my baby.
You want her death penalty?
Dead. I don't care if it's death penalty. I don't care if she hang herself. I want her dead. Out of here.
People are going to say that sounds awfully harsh.
You killed 2 kids because you couldn't control your emotions as a grown woman. I don't care how harsh you say it is.
We're told Aaliyah Henderson.
I mean, to me, he's spitting facts. I don't know if anybody else feel that way, but let's keep.
Will be arraigned on those 2 counts of aggravated murder here at the Justice Center in the morning. In downtown Cleveland, I'm News 5 investigator.
You said, yeah, I believe the same thing. Child services let them down. Are you telling me 2 different people called about how she was acting, about the children, and they weren't taken away? Now, I don't know if they did an investigation or they were about to do an investigation, but that's enough to at least visit. But some people are good at hiding. So they might have visited and you just never know. We'll have to wait for more information to come out, or if it comes out, about what they actually did. Let's go over into the AI breakdown just to see if we can learn anything else about this whole tragic situation. So as we know, in the tragic case, Cleveland, Ohio, Miss Henderson, 28, has been charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder after the bodies of her 2 daughters were discovered in separate suitcases buried in a shallow grave. The girls were identified through DNA as testing as half-sisters, 10 and 8. A dog walker found the first suitcase on March 2nd, 2026 in a field near the Glen Academy in South Clintwood neighborhood. Police subsequently located the second suitcase about 25 feet away. Henderson was charged on March 4th and arraigned on March 6th. She also is facing charges for child endangerment. A judge set her bond at $2 million, $1 million for each during her first court appearance. While the exact date of death is unknown, investigators believe that the bodies have been in the field for some time. Mila's father, Deshaun, stated that he had been seeking custody of his daughter for 5 years and had reportedly contacted child services and the court without success. During a search of Henderson's home, police found another child who appeared to be in good health. That child is now in the custody of the Department of Children and Family Services. Now, where are the other fathers? Why haven't the other fathers come forward? Because if the mother, if the mother of my child ends up killing 2 of her daughters, I'm there front and center trying to figure out where my daughter is, if I truly cared about her. But I mean, some people probably didn't care about her. You never know. This is a tragic situation. She needs to spend the rest of her life in jail. Now, do you think that the father was too harsh to say that she needs to die or get hanged in jail? I don't think so. As a grieving father, and especially if he was a father seeking to get custody of his child because she knew she wasn't safe, I can understand his frustration and his anger. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. But at the end of the day, she needs to be in jail for the rest of her life. We're going to have to wait for the cause of death because, the cause of death always takes a long time. But I would like to know if they were abused, if they were starving. She didn't even let the kids out the house when she moved. And then I still want to know why the other fathers haven't come forward to this tragic situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on this situation, and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Wow. We're going to pivot now. We're going to go over to Waynes County. We got to go to a triple homicide in Waynes County. And it looks like during this, a tow truck driver picked up the suspect or the accused killer. And he had no idea how close he was to possibly dying. But let's go over into it. We got a few videos to look at. And then, of course, we'll go over to the AI breakdown just to get a little bit more information about this case. Triple homicide. And it looks like he ended up in another state, too. So let's get over into it, see what we can find out.
Welcome back to Good Day Utah at 9:38. We are following breaking news coming out of Wayne County this morning.
We want to send you out there right now. Officials have caught the suspect for 3 deaths in Wayne County. All the way in Colorado, our Julia Sandor live at the scene. So Julia, we just heard that press conference wrapping up about 15 minutes ago. We learned a lot of information there. What were your big takeaways?
Yeah, that's right, John. Thank you, guys. We got down here about an hour ago. We've just learned some more information. I think the biggest piece of information was that they identified who the suspect was, and that's 22-year-old Ivan Miller. He's from Iowa. They don't have details about how he got here, but they do say right now we're kind of standing in front of one of the crime scenes. I'm going to step out of the way so that you can take a look at it. This is the residence of someone from Lyman. That was one of the victims in this incident. And they say that there's no connections as far as family relations or anything like that for this victim or any of the other victims or any of the victims with the suspect, Ivan Miller. And again, he was taken into custody without further incident in Pagosa Springs. They say that just kind of some of the details, kind of going back to the incident yesterday, they had received a call around 4:30 afternoon from husbands of 2 of the victims that were on the trail because they hadn't gotten any information from them. They hadn't heard from them for a while. And when they got to the trail, that was when they had found them deceased and had made that call in Wayne County. And again, we're still trying to find out some more information. But when we spoke to Roden and DPS, they talked about how, this is a tragedy for any community. But 3 homicides within the past 24 hours is really scary, especially for a community of this size. And they want to make sure that if people still do see anything suspicious, whether it be a car, they're still investigating. So make sure you reach out to the police and the sheriff's office here with any other information. And we'll continue to bring you more updates as we learn more. But for now, live in Wayne County.
Tragic situation. Let's go over to the next video.
This community is still in shock after a triple homicide. All 3 of the victims lived in Wayne County and we're told had no connection to the suspect. The suspect is 22-year-old Ivan Miller. He's from Iowa, and the Department of Public Safety says they don't believe he had any specific ties to Utah. DPS said Wayne County Dispatch first received a call around 4:30 on Wednesday from husbands of 2 victims who had found the 2 women dead on a trailhead just outside of Capitol Reef National Park. One woman was in her 30s and another was in her 60s. Through their investigation, DPS said they were led to a home in Lyman, where they then found another woman in her 80s dead inside her home. They believe the suspect stole the woman's vehicle in Lyman, then stole another victim's vehicle at the trailhead.
Investigators utilized automated license plate readers and integrated vehicle tracking services to monitor the stolen vehicles' movements through southern Utah into northern Arizona and eventually into Colorado.
Miller was arrested in Pagosa Springs, Colorado late Wednesday night. According to a charging document from the Wayne County Attorney's Office, Miller stayed in the Lyman home shed and watched the older victim drive away before entering her home. He then waited for her to return and shot her. After taking her car, he decided he wanted a different car, so he traveled to the trailhead, where he saw 2 other women get out of a white Subaru. The charging document goes on to say that Miller told officers he went up to both women, shot them multiple times, dragged them to a ditch, and took their cards to buy gas, saying it had to be done and that he did not like to do it. After hearing from people in the community, we reached out to Bryan Auto Shop to see if the suspect was in the area prior to Wednesday. We were told a car belonging to Ivan Miller was towed to their shop after it hit an elk off of Highway 24 on Saturday, February 28th.
Going to be something that definitely shakes the community for a little while, and we want, as law enforcement, want to help them get back to normal as much as we possibly can, but it's something that will definitely take them a little bit to recover from.
There is no longer a threat to the public, and we'll continue to bring you more details on the investigation when we learn more.
He has to be one sick man. This man, all because he wanted a car, killed 3 people. He needed a ride, and he said he's so nonchalant about it. You see, it goes back up a tad bit where they pulled up his picture. Right there. You see how he's slightly smiling? This is the sign of someone who has a lot of problems and needs to be in jail. But let's go over to the next video where we talk about the tow truck driver who towed his vehicle.
24 hours ago, people around here were scared. They'd gotten that emergency message. Facebook lit up and became the place where they shared their worries and whatever tidbits of information they had. Gary Bryan was a part of all of that, but he had no idea that he had spent a lot of time alone with the suspect because he had towed the suspect's car.
It was Saturday night at about 10:30 when dispatch called. They just told me it was the vehicle versus elk at mile marker 40 on SR 24. When I got there, the highway patrol was there. The vehicle was smashed up, and we just loaded it up, and the customer got in with me and rode back to town here, and we unloaded his vehicle and come in the shop and did the paperwork.
Looking back, Gary is most disturbed that Miller didn't give him a bad gut feeling. It all felt normal.
I had no idea to think that it was him. I mean, he'd called me, he'd called here to the shop and talked to us on Monday morning and said that he'd caught a ride out of here and that he wanted to come back this coming Saturday and pick up his stuff. He talked to me just normal. We just talked about if he had insurance on the vehicle, and he said no, and we talked about what that looked like and wanted to know if I'd buy it, and I said that, you know, we could make arrangements to have a salvage buy it. Yeah, all of the people I know, so it's not a good situation. I feel terrible for their families, and yeah, I thought to myself, wow, that could have been me, should have been me instead of all of these other people. I spent an hour with him, and it was in the middle of the night.
Those thoughts.
He spent an hour with the killer, and he didn't get no gut feeling. That just goes to show you that people can hide everything from you. There can be a deranged killer right beside you. You never know if he's smart enough to hide it. But let's keep going.
Especially strong because the victim in Lyman was a neighbor, someone Gary knew from childhood until this week.
I grew up, one of her boys is my same age and was one of my best friends all through high school, so I know the family very well.
And now, what does this county need?
Just put their arm around and give them some love and support. You can't fix what's happened. You got to support from here on out, I would say. She was a fantastic lady. She'd do anything for anybody. We loved her, so.
While this is a close-knit community, we're waiting to learn more about the 2 women who were killed at that popular hiking trail. Though Gary and his employees tell us that they knew one of those women as well because she and her husband were customers at their store.
Small town. That's a small town. You know everyone. Let's go over into the AI breakdown just to see if we can get a little bit more information about this whole thing. So as we know, in a series of events on Wednesday, March 4th, 3 women were killed in Wayne County, Utah, in what authorities describe as a random spree motivated by the need for money and transportation. So here are the names of the victims. We got an 86-year-old, a 65-year-old, and a 34-year-old killed in their home. So one was killed in their home, one was killed while hiking at the trailhead. Another was killed alongside her aunt, Linda, at the trailhead. So the suspect, Ivan, 22-year-old, 22, reportedly became stranded in Wayne County after his personal vehicle was disabled in a collision with an elk on February 28th. It's crazy to think that there's no way that he did all this just because he wanted to get up out of town. But let's keep going. So, reportedly became stranded in Wayne County after his vehicle was hit by an elk. First murder. So on March 4th, Miller allegedly snuck into the first victim's home, waited for her to return, and shot her while she was watching television. He then stole her Buick. Later that day, Miller decided that he wanted a different vehicle and targeted the two on the trailhead. Their husbands discovered their body in a dry creek bed at approximately 4:30 p.m. Authorities used license plate readers and victim key fobs to track the stolen Subaru Outback through Arizona and New Mexico. Miller was arrested early Thursday, March 5th, in Colorado. He's making his way. But it's crazy because he said he called him saying he'll be back on Saturday to pick up some of his stuff that was in the car. No fear. So Ivan has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree aggravated murder. According to court documents, he admitted to killing and stating that he didn't like to do it, but felt it had to be done to secure money and a vehicle. No prior connection was found between him and the victims. This man is a psychopath. If there was truly no motive and all he was doing this for is because he saw them, it was like, you know what? I need to get up out of town. Immediately killed a woman, snuck into her house, killed her, took her Buick, didn't like the Buick, stopped at a trailhead and was like, you know what? I'll take that car, and then killed 2 more women just to get their car. This man is a psychopath and needs to be put in jail for the rest of his life. But my question is, will he try to, because he's most likely going to plead not guilty. And his lawyer's probably going to say insanity defense. Because no one in their right mind would do this. This just goes to show you don't know what anyone is capable of. The tow truck driver drove with him for an hour. He could have easily been like, you know what? I kind of want the tow truck. Crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It is a crazy world that we live in, but this is why we have to review the world together, y'all. Absolutely crazy. We're going to pivot over into the 4th topic we're going to be discussing today. And we got a Louisiana mayor, found guilty of child sexual assault. And I think she was the first Louisiana mayor. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Well, let's go over into it and see what we can find out about this whole situation. We got 2 videos we'll look at, and then we'll go over into the AI breakdown just to get a little bit more information about this whole thing. But let's jump into it and see what we can find out about this crazy situation. Let's get into it.
The teenage son of a disgraced mayor in Louisiana was overheard screaming that his mom, quote, effed his best friend after a drunken pool party where she allegedly had sex with a 16-year-old boy, according to reports. The wild alleged confrontation comes as damning witness testimony and new evidence continues to emerge in the trial of Misty Roberts, the 43-year-old former leader of DeRidder, Louisiana. Roberts allegedly committed the disturbing sex crime during a booze-filled pool party on July 20th, 2024, which she offered to provide alcohol for her son and his friends. Just 1 week later, she abruptly resigned from her position as mayor of DeRidder. Days later, a warrant was issued for her arrest due to a complaint against Roberts before she surrendered herself to the police. Jurors heard from Jill Weaver, the best friend and former sister-in-law of Roberts, that she overheard the tense exchange between Roberts and her son after she was asked to come to the boozy party at around 8 p.m., according to the Lake Charles American Press. He was saying Roberts effed his best friend, Weaver recalled of the party at the Beauregard Parish County trial, in which she also claimed Roberts was the most drunk she'd ever seen her, according to KPLC. Weaver would eventually text her own son to lie till you die about the chaotic night, and admitted she spoke to Roberts about how to keep the kids from reporting the alleged assault they witnessed to authorities. Roberts' son told investigators in an interview played for jurors that he saw his mom having sex with his pal through a crack in a window, but said later in court that he wasn't exactly sure what he saw that night, according to KPLC. The shocked son texted his mom that night, telling her that his sister was crying, according to messages presented by prosecutors. Roberts also texted her ex-husband Duncan Clanton, according to a criminal complaint obtained by the Daily Mail. Quote, "I f***ed up, and I respect you enough to tell you, and I need to," Roberts said. Her ex-husband went on to testify that she told him directly that she had sex with the minor and that the kids had caught them in the act. Clanton's replies from their text exchange were omitted from the court papers, which also revealed that the teen victim's mother texted Roberts, asking the former mayor whether she could be pregnant. Roberts replied that she was on birth control, but that the romp, quote, didn't reach that point in those few minutes to have that concern. Roberts then shared a screenshot of the exchange in a group chat with her friends, who urged her to take Plan B, an over-the-counter morning-after pill. A DoorDash driver testified that
You sharing this with your friends? You're sharing that you committed a crime and your son caught you in the act with his best friend?
accepted a request from Misty C. to purchase the emergency contraceptive and leave it at her front door. The disgraced mayor's brother, Brandon Lee Roberts, is also facing child sex crimes of his own, being accused of raping a teen girl and assaulting a young woman over the course of several years, KALB reported. The alleged sexual abuse began when one of the victims was as young as 13, according to Beauregard Parish Sheriff Mark Herford. This is Roberts' second trial after the first ended in a mistrial when two Beauregard Parish judges were removed from the case because of alleged ties to her ex-husband, according to KPLC. She was arraigned on the current charges earlier this year. Roberts was initially charged with rape, but now faces 2 charges of carnal knowledge of a juvenile and indecent behavior with a juvenile, according to reports. She's pleaded not guilty.
It's crazy to me because these people get caught with some of the most damning evidence and they still plead not guilty. I guess so they can try to fight it and get some of the evidence suppressed, but your son caught you in the act. And then you try to find a way to worm your way out of it. You was buying them out. You are one sick. Let's keep going. Let's go over into one more video.
She was her city's first female mayor. Now she's been found guilty of having sex with a minor.
The first female mayor.
Own children telling authorities they saw their mom being inappropriate with a 16-year-old at a pool party. Here's Ann Mercogliano.
She's the glamorous mayor just convicted of having sex with her son's 16-year-old best friend at an alcohol-fueled pool party. Mayor Misty Roberts was accused of plying teens with alcohol while wearing only a bikini. KPLC TV reporter Devin Cruz covered every day of the sensational trial.
The mayor was seen in a bikini, giving alcohol to minors.
She was seen in a bikini, and several witnesses testified that Miss Roberts or Misty Roberts had gotten the alcohol for the kids and had stocked a fridge. They were by the pool and they began kissing.
Then they went inside the mayor's home. Her own 16-year-old son told investigators that he saw his mother having sex with his friend through the window and that kids at the party had video. Court testimony revealed the mayor's younger daughter was crying at the party and asking people to go and make the victim and the defendant stop. The next day, the victim's mom learned about the sexual encounter and feared a possible pregnancy, texting the mayor mayor, out of respect for both our families, can you assure me that you can't be pregnant? Yes, responded the mayor, stating that she was on birth control. There was also testimony from a DoorDash delivery driver who said that he received an order from the mayor for the morning after abortion pill to be delivered to her doorstep after the party. Jurors began to deliberate last night, and it took them less than an hour to deliver the verdict. The unanimous verdict, guilty of carnal knowledge of a juvenile and indecent behavior with a juvenile.
She did become very emotional, and she began crying.
Before the mayor's arrest, she had promised to always lead the city of DeRidder with her heart.
I might not look like or feel like or speak like every other mayor in America, but I am a mayor that will always be who I am, and I will lead the city with my heart.
The mayor resigned from office just days before her arrest.
She gonna lead it with her heart and her body, it seems like.
Kristi Roberts' lawyer says she's very disappointed with the verdict. Her sentencing is scheduled for April 17th.
You get caught by your son effing his best friend, and you're the first mayor of the city? First female mayor. I should have said first female mayor of the city? It's a crazy turn. Let's go over into the AI breakdown to see a little bit more. So on March 3rd, 2026, Misty, the former mayor of Louisiana, DeRidder, Louisiana, was found guilty on 2 felony sex crimes involving a minor. The jury deliberated for less than an hour to return a guilty verdict for the carnal knowledge of a juvenile and the indecent behavior with a juvenile. So 43 was convicted of having sex with her son's 16-year-old friend during a July 2024 house party at her home. She was serving while she was serving as a mayor. During the week-long trial, jurors heard testimony from the victim, who stated that he was heavily intoxicated during the encounter. Additional evidence included a DoorDash driver who testified delivering emergency contraception shortly after the party. Text messages where Robert told her nephew that she was scared to death and asked him to ensure the teens didn't say anything. Testimony from Robert's ex-husband, who claimed that she admitted to the sexual encounter to him. Sentencing. So Robert is scheduled to be sentenced in April 17th. She faces up to 10 years in prison for cardinal knowledge and up to 7 years for indecent behavior. She also required to register as a Tier 1 sex offender. The very first female mayor in this city is going to go down as a sex offender for the rest of her life. Well, I guess it makes people who voted for her stupid. Or feel stupid, not stupid, but feel stupid. Wow. Then you saw how she tried to scatter and make sure the kids didn't tell nobody. Ultimately, it's her fault on everything. She, provided alcohol for the pool party, even though there were minors present. She still did it. Then there was a part that they told us where she texted it to her group chat of her friends. And it's a crazy situation, y'all. Well, we'll see how much time she gets. We'll have to wait for her sentencing hearings on April 17th. See how much time she gets. How much time do you think she deserves for this? The maximum, 17 years? Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy. But that is it for the show today, y'all. You know, we talk about a lot of crazy things every single day, but this is the last day of the week for the show. Remember, y'all, if you ever disagree with anything I said, please leave a comment. Let's have a discussion about it. I'm never going to say I'm always right. I'm never going to say I always know everything. But that we have to review this world together, y'all. We have to review this world together. The best way to show your support is just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. Now, these videos will be broken down, but that's it for the week, y'all. Though that's it. We had a crazy week of talking about a lot of crazy things. But this is the greatest afternoon show in the world. You ain't got to believe it. I believe it. That's all that matters. But that is it for this week, y'all. I will see y'all on Monday around 6 o'clock to go over 4 more topics. But that's it for now, y'all. Y'all already know I got to play that outro.